So it is our top story this morning. Another Home Secretary has touched down in Rwanda. This time he's expected to sign a new treaty which could see British government lawyers stationed in the country to get deportation flights taking off from the UK.
OK, so the government has promised to deliver the biggest ever cut in net migration. Look at these figures. It soared to a record 745,000 last year.
Well, we're joined now by GB News' political editor, Christopher Hopes, joins us from number 10 Downing Street. Good morning to you, Christopher. And there's kind of two parts to this, really. The illegal side to this, which the Home Secretary is hoping that we kind of talk a bit more about today. It's quite often, I would say, the government's strategy to focus on this small proportion of net migration with this new treaty in Rwanda. And then the other part of this 5-point plan, very much focusing on healthcare, social care, and indeed foreign students and how that is going to bring down net migration. Can it work?
Well, the proof will be in the pudding on that, Isabel. I mean, it's only a record fall if it works. And it's only a record fall because the figures are so high. As you say, 745,000 people arrived here net. The actual gross figure is much more than that because the net figure is the difference between those leaving and those arriving. It might work. We'll wait and see. Of course, we've got MPs now digesting what's in there, and maybe the MPs on the new Conservative group are waiting to react. We're hearing from others. So Simon Clarke, MP, former minister, he wants to see an annual budget event to try and set the annual net migration figure. Jacob Rees-Mogg wants the figure to be down to under 100,000 by the end of the next Parliament if the Tories win the election. I think that is definitely in some question. This week is migration, where they're trying to sort out these two big issues. It's the legal net migration number, swelled by Ukrainians last year, but was about 670,000 in the year to June this year, which is more than twice what it was in 2019 when the Tories said it would be coming down. And the pressure that puts on our viewers and Britain's GP surgeries, school places and the like means it must be dealt with, and it's understood now by the Prime Minister in clear terms. Behind me, the Cabinet's meeting. James Cleverly, the Home Secretary, is not there. He's in Rwanda, signing off on the treaty to try and get this idea, these illegal arrivals over the south coast to be able to send back to Rwanda to be processed. We've already beaten the number set in 2021. We won't get near the figure set last year, but the figure's around 23,000 or so. It was thrown out by the Supreme Court, of course. It was seen to be against the European Convention of Human Rights. How does the government get around that? There are three options. Will they look at trying to say that the ECHR won't apply in all asylum claims? Will it say that only the British Parliament, only in these certain cases, will disapply in these situations? Or will it just try and say that, vote that Rwanda is a safe country? Because the problem is that the court was concerned that Rwanda might try and send people it processed back to the country they came from and put them at risk. So it's a big week for the government. If we can get this right, they've got a chance here to put some clear blue water between this party and Labour at the next election, because Labour's answer is not anywhere near as robust. So it's a big test here for the PM, Mr Sunak.
Yes, but I suppose it's going to take more than a week to bear out and see how it works in all of this. I don't know, you'll be able to tell me, does Robert Jenrick sit in Cabinet or not? No, he's an immigration minister, sort of one down from the Home Secretary, but we spoke to him this morning and he said that, you know, he was on resignation watch very much because he seemed to be dissatisfied with the new Home Secretary, who had said something along the lines of Rwanda is not the be-all and end-all, and he sort of stepped into Suella Braverman's shoes, calling for a harder line, if you like. Will there be more unity in Cabinet around these measures? I mean, I wonder if Victoria Atkins, the new Health Secretary, might have had a few things to say about the impact, given the concerns that have been raised about the shortages already in that sector.
That's totally right, of course. The problem with these big numbers is when you break them down into the sectors, you start thinking, well, we can't do out with any nurses, and what about the care workers and the like? So you start looking into that number, and we wonder why, well, actually, we do need these people after all, and there's some concerns overnight, isn't there, about people who can't get married to somebody if they're on less than £38,000 a year and move here from overseas, because that's the new level set in this 5-point plan. I think the issue of resignation watch is a live one. I don't think that, I mean, it seemed to me that Robert Jenrick was quite chirpy and happy on the benches next to James Cleverly, the Home Secretary. He's the Immigration Minister, used to work with Suella Braverman, of course. He can attend Cabinet, and almost certainly will be in there to brief them. If they go too hard, if they decide to go much further than expected and try and disapply the European Convention of Human Rights, you may see resignations elsewhere in government, because the Attorney General, Victoria Atkins, could be concerned about it, because there's a big issue. I think Victoria Prentice could be concerned, because that would be seen by many on the legal side as going too far for a law-abiding country. So big stuff at stake here in Cabinet. We'll know soon enough, probably an announcement on Thursday this week.
Thank you, Christopher.
I was going to pitch in with a final thought.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
That we were speaking recently about the polling for Reform, who seem to be eating into the Conservative vote. And Reform have been tweeting this morning saying there could be an unintended consequence, as there so often is with these policy announcements, that actually by bringing in this higher threshold for salaries in April next year, it could actually lead to a big uptick before then, which could actually have a negative impact, bringing the total up. Sort of people rushing to come in ahead of April.
Almost. That's always the case with a deadline. We all see a surge. Even if you're running the London Marathon, there's always a big charge before the 4-hour mark, because everyone tries to beat 4 hours. I mean, what happens is people will try and get in under the wire before that comes in. And don't forget, there could be an election in May, so any surge in numbers before that new deadline the government's put in could be a problem politically for the Tory government. So we'll wait and see. I think behind me you're seeing, well, while you're on, Isabel and Jamin, I think that's the back there of the Attorney General. Now, what she thinks, arriving for Cabinet behind me, what she thinks about this, whether we pull out the ECHR or not, will be a big test of whether this is acceptable to the kind of legal brains in the Tory party. And she is someone who could resign if it goes the wrong way. Back to you.
Interesting. OK, thanks very much indeed for that.